I'm currently sitting in something called the Safari Seat, an off-road wheelchair built right here in Kenya, given away for free by the company who builds them. The word safari in Swahili means journey, and to someone who has a physical impairment or disability, that's what this chair allows them to go do. And today we're going to tour the factory that builds these very hospitable devices for this very inhospitable type of terrain. EcoFlow was nice enough to send over one of their Delta 2s as well as a 400-watt portable solar panel that will be used to help support the movement here in Kenya. So thanks to EcoFlow for sponsoring this video, more on them later. The first thing you might notice that's different about this wheelchair are the two hand cranks in the front. In a regular push wheelchair, you would only get propelled forward with each push of your arms. But here in the Safari Seat, we have a 2-to-1 gear ratio, which doubles my human ability to climb slopes and conquer obstacles. Just like you can gear down while riding a bicycle, these hand cranks accomplish the same thing. The same push arms can also collapse backwards for easier side entry, which is pretty legit. And then back here, we have an articulating suspension with springs underneath, which keep all 4 wheels on the ground. There's also a brake lever. But enough with how it looks on the outside, let's see how it's built from the ground up. The Accessibility Institute started manufacturing their wheelchairs back in 2018. I also have a wheelchair factory in the United States, and it's interesting to see how different sides of the planet are coming together to conquer the same problems. This is Ken. He runs the day-to-day operations here at TAI, where they manufacture the Safari Seat and the Safari Kid. When you first started manufacturing the Safari Seat or the Safari Kid, what were your ultimate goals?
I think ultimate goal with the Safari Seat was to have a device that was locally manufactured.
For the past 6 years, TAI has continued to adapt and refine their wheelchairs to handle the needs of the local communities while using local labor and locally sourced material. They've donated around 500 Safari Seats since they started operating, and that success has allowed them to expand and start building the Safari Kid, a wheelchair built specifically for kids who might have mobility needs here in Africa. About how long have you guys been manufacturing the Safari chair?
So we've been here since 2018. The actual design of the Safari Seat started in 2016, but 2018 is when we found this space and all these spaces where you can grind, weld.
The current version has 2 hand cranks where the driver can manipulate them to propel themselves forward. What sparked that idea or that design?
I think the original design was the lever system. To be able to go through this really tough environment became a bit of a challenge, especially in how the person propelled themselves. We realized there was a need to find when someone is moving, using their back doesn't come into play as much. It takes longer to figure something out. And I think if we had maybe, more sophisticated machinery, it would be easier. But I think that's also part of the fun, is that we have to work with what we have, make lemonade out of the lemons that we get. So it's a challenge, but also I think it's what makes us really sharp.
One of the biggest obstacles that TAI has experienced in the production of the Safari Seats are the frequent power cuts that completely bring the factory to a halt.
Your plans don't go according to plan because you wanted to make 50, but you have so many power cuts. That means you make 20 at the end of the day.
Hopefully the battery EcoFlow sent over will help get over some of those power cuts.
I mean, it looks really cool. And the solar panel, I think, is something very cool because we thought it was just one and then it flipped over and it was like 4 of them. So that was really cool.
When there's no power, there's no production, which is where EcoFlow comes in. The battery we're using is called the EcoFlow Delta 2 that can output 1800 watts and can run any tool in the shop. The nice thing is that it does have 500 watts worth of solar power input, so it can recharge, for free from the power of the sun. But since there are frequent power outages here at the shop, while the power's on, they can plug it into the wall and recharge the whole unit in about an hour and save that energy for a rainy day when the power goes out and they can still keep operations moving. On the front we have 4 USB ports and 2 USB-C ports. The side has an expansion port where we can add more modules to increase total capacity. And then on the back, is where we have the 4 outlets that output 1800 watts. I don't think the guys here will be using the 12 volt DC outputs, but it also has those in case they need them. The charging happens back here, either the wall plug or the 500 watts of solar. Let's get back to work.
My favorite part of the factory is the way they've organized the manufacturing process. These little booklets give step-by-step instructions to whoever's working, similar to what we would find in a Lego set. While the Safari seat is sophisticated in its design, it's also simple enough that it can be easily reproduced in local workshops and factories throughout Kenya.
So what you'll notice is that you have task 1 here, and that correlates to those buckets that you can see on the wall. So during the process of production, you come here and you take that off the rack, and you'll find the pieces that were in that book. You'll find them in that, and then you take them to a station and you work on them there. And then it gets a cut. C2 becomes C2 star 5, and then C2 star 5 is taken to task bucket number 19, and task number 1 will be complete, and that's how it flows. And then towards the end, the individual pieces that have been manufactured can now be put together, and then you have a complete Safari seat.
It's easy to make one of something, but to make hundreds of somethings, then you have to have processes in place, and that's where these task books come in handy. So the project becomes repeatable, and anyone can pick up a book and get to work.
It's rather incredible to see what the Accessibility Institute has been able to accomplish with the tools and materials they have on hand, and see the lives they've been able to benefit along the way. These locally built wheelchairs, both the Safari Seat and the Safari Kid, give the gift of mobility, freedom, and independence to someone who might not be able to get it any other way.
The whole mission of the Safari chair is to be given away for free to people who need them, but the bill of materials for the Safari seat is about $350. EcoFlow has promised to foot the bill for about 30 of these, which is around $10,000. But if you too would like to help support this cause, I'll leave a link down in the description where you can donate any amount. Hope you enjoyed seeing the process of these wheelchairs being manufactured, and thanks a ton for watching. I'll see you around.